reminder, my spring challenge is starting on Monday. It's the workout plan I will be doing for the next 3 months. If you guys want to join in, then please do so. There will be a 30% discount as of tomorrow, Friday the 31st of March. So make sure you click the first link in my description and go and sign up. It's a brand new workout plan, brand new meal plan, macros included, but you can take them off the app if you're not interested in looking at them. Home workouts, gym workouts, the lot. And it starts on Monday the 3rd of April, so make sure you join it. Good afternoon and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I am doing a pregnancy Q&A, which is something I actually planned on doing weeks ago, but just haven't. I think we've made a couple of like pregnancy related videos and I thought we need a break and do our regular content. So obviously I've been away as well a few places and doing like what eating a days and vlogs and stuff like that. So we are diving in. I don't like this angle, hold on. We are diving in to our pregnancy Q&A that I asked on Instagram. So I have the original Q&A post that I put up literally the day that I kind of like announced on social media that I was pregnant. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these boobs. I've never had boobs and now they're just there and they're making me feel massive. Like they're making me feel like I'm so much bigger than I am, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with myself, but I just feel like I look chunky. Anyway, I have the original questions, plus I also posted on Instagram this morning asking for any more in case you missed that one. So we're just going to jump right in. We're just going to answer these questions, fly through them to try and answer as many as possible. As always, this is obviously a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. If talking about pregnancy and children, fertility and all that kind of stuff is a sensitive topic to you and it's not something you want to watch, then absolutely click out of this video. I can't imagine you've clicked on it if it's not something you do want to watch, but if you are choosing to watch it and are struggling, then I hope that you find this a positive video and you don't take any kind of negativity from it, and that, you know, every single person's journey is different. I'm going to talk about mine, and you know, I have had such a positive experience so far, and I would hate for that to come across like rubbing in people's faces who are not having a positive experience. So yeah, just keep in mind that if you are sensitive to this topic or this triggers you or this upsets you in any way, that my heart goes out to you, and this video by no means is supposed to be, this is so fantastic, look at me. It's my journey, my experience, and I'm just going to be honest with it, and yeah, take positivity from it, I hope, please. Oh, the sun's coming out. Positive vibes. Oh my god, it's a bit too bright. Is that a bit too bright? Anyway, okay, first question is, when is your due date? So I am due the end of July. End of July, which actually sounds really far away, but it's not, because we're in April. Well, are we in April yet? We're basically in April. All of April, all of May, all of June, and by that point you're then counting down like, oh my god, it's nearly the end of July. So was this planned, and how long did it take you of trying, if it was planned? And how long were you off contraception for? These are like 3 questions that fall under the one category, and I'm just going to answer them all together. Okay, so this is where the sensitivity might come in. Just forewarning, this question. So I have never been on hormonal contraception. It's not for me. It is not for me. I have always tracked my cycle. For like the past, what, I don't even know, like 6, 7, 8 years. I've tracked my cycle, and that has personally worked for me, along with, you know, some other measures that are not hormonal. You know, I've never been on the pill or had the thing in your arm, or the thing that goes, I don't even know what they're called. This is the thing. Is it the coil? Or the, is it an IUD? I don't even know what it's called. I don't know what it's called because I've never used any of them. So in terms of contraception, I have tracked my cycle, avoided sexual activity during ovulation periods, which is a commitment. FYI, do not switch to that method of contraception unless you are going to stick to it rigidly, okay? Because you can kind of go, well, it says I'm only fertile this day, maybe if I just have sex like 2 days before. No, there's a lot of factors that come into play. Look into it. If it's something you're looking into, then make sure you know all of the information. So contraception wise, never been hormonal, so I've never had to come off of anything. So where was it planned? Yes, this pregnancy was planned, but we weren't trying. Okay, this is what I mean, where this is going to sound, this is such a sensitive answer, but I need to just say what our journey was, and there's no tiptoeing around it, it's just what it was. It was planned in that we stopped preventing. So we stopped avoiding, so there was the whole, like I said, I tracked my cycle, you know, there was other methods if you can use your imagination, but by no means, what's the word I'm looking for? So basically we also weren't trying, okay? We weren't trying, as in I wasn't rigidly sticking to like, okay, it's ovulation time, blah 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 blah, but we weren't avoiding. It was we're just gonna live our life as a couple, do what we want to do when we want to do it, and let the universe decide. And the universe decided very quickly that this was our next step. So I hope that answers the question. You know, I'm trying to say it in a roundabout kind of way, you know, but we didn't necessarily try, and that is a very fortunate, very privileged, very, yeah, it's a very like positive and privileged and all those kind of words thing to say that we didn't have to rigidly try. We didn't schedule anything, we didn't look at ovulation, we basically just stopped doing what we were doing to avoid, and then just let nature take its course. And I'm very grateful that that happened for us. You see so many people that have to do things so kind of strictly and rigidly and kind of by the book, and it takes them months and years, and we're very fortunate that we didn't have to do that. That's not to say we might not have to do that in the future if there was ever to be a second or a third pregnancy, but yes, I feel very, 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 very lucky and privileged is the only word I can think of, that, you know, that we were in that situation, that we had a smooth experience. That's the only word choice I can think of for that. Do you plan on having more than one baby? So I grew up with a sister 2 years younger than me, and I loved having a sibling really close in age. They're just like, they're your wee best friend forever, you know. And now, like, my sister and I were like 29 and 27. We just have like a good relationship, you know. And I would have always thought that I was either having 0 children or I was having 2 close in age. That was always kind of the thing. But see now, I don't really want to do it again. It's just, as much as I've had a positive experience thus far, it's still a lot, you know. It is a lot on your body and your mentality and just everything. So honestly, I don't know the answer to that. I'm just going to go with this one for now, see how it goes, and we will see what the future holds. Do you know the gender, and will you reveal the gender to us? So we actually do know the gender, so you've probably seen this from the vlog that I did, but Adam and I wanted to find out the gender, but we keep it to ourselves. We're literally not telling family, friends, absolutely no one knows other than the person that did the ultrasound. We're keeping it a secret. We just wanted something for us that was just me and him know and nobody else knows, because it very quickly becomes that everybody knows everything, you know, and that way if nobody knows the gender, they can't give you name suggestions, they can't buy you bright blue or bright pink clothes that you don't want or wear, and yeah, it just reduces outside involvement. as much as possible, which we don't want to reduce outside involvement. Obviously we love our family so much, but you know, there's just some things that you just want to be between you two, and we decided to keep the gender and the name, because we have it, to ourselves. So in terms of the name, so that's actually the next question, do you have the name? We have the name, however we're putting it in a top 3, and we have 3 names because, and we're not using the name, we're not mentioning the name, we're not mentioning the gender, we're referring to the baby as the baby, them, they, it. It's not getting referred to as their gender, and it's definitely not getting referred to as their name, because we'll end up slipping up, and I would hate that. I would hate to think that we made this commitment to only us knowing things, and then like you slip it up, and you would probably slip it up to someone that isn't your close family or something, and you'd be like, that's great. I've told like someone that didn't even really need to know anything. So yeah, we have the name, and I'll tell you what we did. So honestly, I didn't really know how the whole name thing was going to go. I've never really thought of baby names in my life, because I've never really thought about children in my life, and I mean, people have asked me that as well, which I'll get to in the Q&A. But name wise, we never decided. There's an app which Adam's brother and sister-in-law used for their children. It's called Kinder, so it's like Tinder. I've never been on Tinder, right? But Tinder, apparently you swipe left or right if you like or don't like someone. You do that with baby names. So we have like an account that's linked to each other, and we swipe on names, and then they get put into a list of boys and girls names of ones that we've matched on. So it's actually quite nice, because then it's a case of, we both like them independently, rather than someone suggesting it, another person going, I do like it, I don't know if I like it. We've just both seen it. So you put in the surname, so the name will come up as the full name, like the first and the surname. So yeah, it was quite fun, because we've had like a couple of nights where we're like, right, half an hour on Kinder, we're going to look at baby names, and basically we compiled quite a good list, narrowed it down to like 3. We think we have the top 1. We're just not referring to it, in case we go off it as well. We don't want to go off names. Okay, we needed a pee break, but we're back. Okay, this is going to be such a long video, but I feel like there's so many questions to cover, and they should all just go in the one place. Anyway, have you had to change or adjust your diet at all? So if you are completely unaware of, I need to zip this up because that's just, it's thrown me. When you go to your doctor or your midwife, so actually the first question my midwife asked was, do you have any dietary, what's the word? Do you follow a specific like diet or anything like that? And I said, oh, I'm vegan, I've been vegan for nearly 10 years. And she was like, oh cool, nothing more was said about that, which was great, because I was honestly expecting like, you know, maybe some misinformation on her part, but she was like, cool. And then she just said, oh well, I don't have to tell you not to eat anything then. So for those of you that don't know, normally you are advised when pregnant to avoid, is it like deli meat, sushi, raw fish, unpasteurized dairy and cheese. Honestly, I don't know the rest of it because I don't eat any of it. So actually, I feel like I'm on the absolute optimal diet. The thing I will say is I did take coffee out in the first trimester, just because there was a few things with coffee, like especially the first trimester. I just thought, I don't need coffee. I'm not someone that like needs coffee to survive. Do I like it? Yes, I have maximum 1 a day. I don't even have it every day, but I'm back drinking it now. Oh my gosh, what is with this sun? What is with this sun? I mean, I'm not complaining, but the light in this video is just going to be like this. So I did take coffee out, and in terms of supplements, I guess I have a like prenatal vitamin that was given to me, and also iron. I'm taking iron and folic acid. I got blood work done, and you're supposed to take folic acid in your first trimester anyway, but she asked if I plan on breastfeeding. I said I plan to attempt it, yes. They suggest that you keep up the folic acid whilst you're doing that, so I basically have been taking folic acid the whole time. And I got my blood test done and all my blood was fine. However, my iron was slightly low. It wasn't anemic or anything like that, but it was just slightly low. And in pregnancy it can make it lowered as well, so she was like, just go on an iron supplement too. So folic acid, iron supplement, and a prenatal vitamin, not vitamin or whatever the heck I just said there, vitamin. I think I went American. But otherwise no, my diet has pretty much been exactly the same. Obviously if you watch my previous videos, my first trimester was, that'll answer this question as well, any morning sickness. First trimester was not fun. However, I had what I would describe as like a mild experience of the first trimester. I have people in my life right now that are pregnant that are 20 weeks of sickness, like literally constantly being sick, can't eat, have to take anti-sickness tablets, can't go to work, all this kind of stuff. Thankfully that was not me. I had like 4, 5, 6 weeks, I'd probably say like 5, 6 weeks of nausea in the morning, and it kind of came and went throughout the day. I've never once been sick, and you know, just eating small things, plain foods like toast and bagels, crisps, fruit, cereal, things like that kind of helped it. And extreme tiredness, oh my god, I'd get out of bed and not even make it to like 10 o'clock in the morning and be like a zombie. But overall it meant I continued my lifestyle as much as possible in terms of working, going to the gym. I had 2 weeks of not going to the gym and only eating from Deliveroo because nothing sounded good. But out with that, everything's been pretty normal, which I'm very grateful for. Very grateful for. I think it's made it a lot easier to go on this journey, you know, kind of sticking to your normal routine, if you like. So yeah, workouts. I've had like 2 comments thus far only on Instagram of people being like, you shouldn't work out when you're pregnant. It's a controversial topic for those that are misinformed. But have you changed your workouts since being pregnant? There have been a couple of changes, and they are personal changes. So long story short, the general rule of thumb is, number 1, speak to your own health practitioner. I am not a health practitioner for pregnancy information. This is just my experience and my journey. But the general rule of thumb, if you have a low risk pregnancy, i.e. touch wood, everything is going the way it should be going, and you feel okay to do so, you can continue your normal exercise routine. Unless it's like kickboxing or something. Like contact sports. So basically my routine has pretty much stayed the same. I'm training in the gym with weights 4 times per week, and I've made some small changes. I haven't actually done any hip thrusts because I just felt it uncomfortable. I would like to start adding them back in now that I'm more aware of my belly shape and where things are. When you're in your first trimester, I'm just like, am I squishing something? Am I not squishing something? Is there too much pressure here? And obviously the first trimester is so sensitive to, you know, things going wrong. So I avoided hip thrusts, but I think I might add them. It's actually a leg day today. I might add them back in today. Overhead military press, I'm doing that lightweight, but I'm actually just preferring dumbbells. I was just feeling it too much in my lower back. I am now feeling that flat bench press at a heavy weight of like 50+ kilo. It's just pulling on my stomach too much, like lying flat with your back arched and, you know, bench pressing like 50 odd kilo. It's uncomfortable on my stomach. So I again have switched either to incline bench or lighter bench press or incline dumbbells. And other than that, not doing any ab work in terms of like crunchies, or well, it's actually pretty much just crunchies. And I didn't really train abs anyway. It was just, you know, sometimes I would just throw them in, but no ab work. I am starting core work, but not ab work, i.e. core and pelvic floor work for well, for pregnancy, for birth, and for postpartum recovery. What I have been kind of reading thus far is that you need to reconnect your core. So basically reconnecting and healing your actual core muscles and not focusing on abs. It's your core muscles, and once they're kind of like healed and in place, that's kind of the route you want to go down. So long-winded answer. I haven't changed much, to be honest, in my routine. And I wasn't really someone that drank often. I don't smoke, I've never done drugs, anything like that. So yeah, I live like a healthy, balanced lifestyle. My chocolate intake has quadrupled, but other than that, it's like I've always eaten chocolate every day anyway. But chocolate's the thing that I'm like, whoo, skyrocketed. So what are your cravings? So like I said, in the first trimester there was that window of like, nothing sounds good to me. I couldn't eat vegetables for like a month. I just wanted plain food. I didn't want home cooked food. I didn't want greasy food. Like I didn't want greasy takeaway fried food, but I did want food from restaurants. So whilst it wasn't deep fat fried food, it was still obviously less healthy food than I would make. But that passed after a few weeks. And really, I'm never really craving anything salty. I'm not a salty, savoury person. Now and then I'm like, ooh, I want a burrito for lunch or something like that. Or, oh, I could go a pizza for dinner. But it's not anything out with what I would like kind of normally have cravings for. But it's dessert. It's dessert. It's the chocolate, it's the cake, it's the ice cream. How far along were you when you found out? I hadn't even missed my period yet, and that is, pardon me, because I am so aware of my body, and I think it's because I've never been on any kind of hormonal changes that I just know as soon as something's slightly off. And I will say, whoever decided that the early pregnancy symptoms, i.e. leading up to when your period would be missed, should be exactly the same as what you feel like when your period is due, that is some witchcraft. That is not fun. Because, well, I mean, it's fun if you're happy to be pregnant, but if you're not happy to be pregnant and you're like, oh, my period's coming, like I'm crampy, my boobs are sore, I'm tired, you know, I'm hungry, blah de blah de blah, and it turns out that that's also the pre-early pregnancy symptoms, that is some BS. That is that. I'm just putting that out there because that is. So yeah, I found out literally like 2 or 3 days before my period was even due. I just knew something was just different. I felt very much like my period was coming, but at the exact same time I was like, my boobs look too big. They look too big for me. Oh, so many people are just, so many of these comments are just so nice, like people saying congratulations and they're so excited and they're so happy for us and stuff, and I just think that's so, it's just, it's, you sometimes you forget that your social media actually reaches people, and you know, when you see comments like that, I'm like, oh, people actually follow me and follow my life and like are invested, you know, and it's just really nice. Let me see. Are you scared of being a mum? Honestly, I've not thought about it. I really haven't thought about it as, oh, I'm going to be a mum. It's this is just the next stage in life. There's a person that needs to be looked after all the time. I feel like I'm really going into this with a very open mind, very limited expectations, and kind of a just go with the flow and see how things go, and what you'll find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. I mean, that's kind of always been my attitude towards life, you know. It's kind of like, no stress, no stress. I don't want wrinkles and grey hair. So the answer will just be no. Am I scared right now? No. Will that change when a human comes out of my body and I'm like, oh, I've got to take you home and look after you forever? Probably. But at this stage I'm like, sometimes I don't even realise I'm pregnant, you know. I'm like, oh, that's happening. It's weird. There's sometimes a disconnect. Like I am aware that I am pregnant. I am aware what the end product of pregnancy is. I'm aware that my body looks different. I have this wee belly going on. I have boobs. I'm sometimes tired. Like, I'm aware of all that. But sometimes, like, Adam and I will both do it. We go, oh, that actually means that there's a baby at the end of this. You know, it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. Let me see. So when did you change your mind about wanting kids? This is a question I've had quite a lot. So I think I've said in the past Q&As, like, I've been on YouTube for a long time, like 5-6 years, okay? That is early 20s. That's me being like 22, 23 years old. And if people have asked me then if I wanted children, I've always been like, I don't know, like, I'll see down the line. I don't want them right now because I didn't want them at 22, 23. They never crossed my mind. It was never something I thought about. I was never fussed about other people's children or babies. Never had like a list of names, or never looked at baby clothes and was like, oh, that's so cute, or anything like that. If anything, I was kind of just like, maybe one day when I'm like 30, I'll like change my mind. But it was never ever like on my radar as a, I can't wait for that stage of life. It just wasn't. But there's a lot of factors that come into play, and I think meeting the right person changes your whole perspective on life, you know? Like, it completely changes your whole perspective on life. And you can think that you maybe wanted something when you're 25 and don't want it when you're 30, or vice versa. And yeah, you can really just change your mind about anything at any point. And I would say, obviously, since being with Adam, and yeah, just like life we've had together, I'm like, we'd be cool making a person, you know. So yeah, and I think there's never really a, oh, I'm ready for this stage. I think there's more of a, I won't be freaked out if this happens stage instead, you know? Like, this would be a positive thing if it happened. But it's not a, I am 100% ready for this, because I don't know if you ever are 100% ready for anything. How old are you both? I am 29. Am I? Yes, I am 29, and Adam is 3 years older. Don't tell him I told you that. Bum 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 bum. Will you show the baby online? It's so scary these days. We've decided not to. Blake Lively did a speech on child protection. Yeah, so it's a tough one, because my life is online and I love posting my life online. Adam and I have slightly different opinions on it, but I think there'll be maybe wee bits here and there in the first couple of months, but honestly, no, I don't think they're going to be on the internet much. And honestly, it's just a safety thing. There's too many weirdos in the world, and yeah, there's too many strange folk out there, and the internet works in weird, mysterious ways that they'll probably, you know, at the very start and for the first couple of months, there'll be slight inclusions. Obviously, I'd like to introduce them to you all, but obviously babies change so much in their appearance, things over time, that yeah, I don't see them being on it much, to be honest. However, we've not fully decided yet, but I would say that's the direction we're going in. Bum bum, bum bum. Do you have a gender preference? No, I don't have a gender preference. I have always seen myself with a girl, if I had ever thought about having children, and I thought it was going to be a girl, and Adam, however, thought it was going to be a boy. One of us is right and one of us is wrong. You will find out in July which is which. So no preference, but more of a, this is what I thought. But was I right or was I wrong? Let me see. Oh, there's just so many questions and I don't know. Let me see. Well, back to workouts. Have you changed your intensity of your workouts? So I feel like with the workouts, it's pretty much been the same other than the small changes that I've said. But I'm very much listening to my body. If I have done a set and I'm like, oh my god, I need like a 5-minute break before the next one, then I'm having a 5-minute break before the next one. There's no time limit. There's no like rush. There's no anything. It's just this is the workout we're doing. If it takes us an hour to do it, fine. If it takes us an hour and a half to do it, also fine. There's no rush. I'm keeping up my fitness routine because mentally it makes me feel sane and like it's my thing. It's Adam and I's hobby we do together. It makes me feel good. It's with the times that I haven't trained, I have felt it in my body. Like I have felt the more negative effects of pregnancy, like the aches and pains and stuff, but if I'm moving and exercising, I feel so much better. And obviously we're going to slightly change training to add in more kind of functionality and things for birth and recovery. So there's that. Excuse me. Oh my god. Hiccups are my absolute like symptom. Is that the word I'm looking for? Let me see. There's just so many of the same questions over and over again, so I don't want to keep Are you worried about your holidays now you have a baby on board? Massive congratulations, by the way. Thank you. But the only thing I actually said to Adam the other day was I wish we'd been to Florida together, like Orlando with the theme parks. I said because that is such a fun place and I would love for us to have went there. But we've had so many cool experiences in these past few years, and I am someone... Okay, the camera died. Do we need this light? I don't think we do need a light. But what I was saying was I'm not under any false illusion what having a baby entails, okay? But at the same time, I don't want my whole identity and my whole... these areas that I have enjoyment in life to just completely disappear. Yes, they will change, yes, they will be different, yes, they may not be as easy to do X, Y and Z, but yeah, like holidays for example, I'm dying to like pack a baby up in a carrier and be like, let's go on an adventure. And I think it's much different in their first kind of like 5 years of life before they're like at school and there's routines and all this kind of stuff. Like pretty much my idea is that, you know, this baby comes into your life and you're, you know, obviously everything is 100% about them and taking care of them and all the rest of it, but at the same time it's okay, so what do we as a couple like to do, what do I as a person like to do, what as a person do you like to do, and keep up with our kind of our favourite things in life, whilst also making sure that this new favourite thing in life is very well taken care of. So I don't feel like holidays are going to stop or anything like that. Things are just going to look slightly different. And actually I was talking about Florida for example the other day, and I thought all it means is that maybe Adam's brother and his wife and his kids come along and we like get a villa instead, and we, you know, can say that you hold the children this time because they have 2 children, like you can look after the children, we'll go on this ride and then like swap round. Obviously that's me being silly, but yeah, excuse me. A Harry Potter themed baby room, that would be cool, but no, we actually haven't bought anything. That is another question, is how much have you prepared? Nothing. I have bought clothes and that is it, and not even like the necessary clothes yet, because, and I've not bought the necessary stuff like vests and other necessary items yet, because it was actually my mum, she was like, you have so many aunties and friends and cousins and blah 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 that are obviously going to buy you baby presents and stuff. They will buy you essentials, so if you're buying clothes, buy like the wee outfits that you think look cool or different, or like the nice kind of pieces, because A, we know the gender and other people don't. So yeah, so far I have only bought clothing, and we haven't even discussed the room yet, and I'll tell you why. Because the room was originally going to be my office. I never used an office in my life. I like sitting here. That is where I like to do my work, and as a result it's become a dumping ground, and the whole room is still full of boxes from moving. We did only move 6 months ago, however that's half a year. The room is still needing to be done, but I have someone coming tomorrow to look at doing like a built-in wardrobe, because I can't do anything with the room until there's a wardrobe in place and a lot of stuff can be put away. So Adam actually said to me, I am not discussing a room with you until you get it sorted first. And do you know what? Fair enough. Fair enough, because it's just, we can't do anything with it right now because it's just so full of everything else. So yeah. Okay, last 3 questions since my camera keeps dying. One was, do you plan on breastfeeding? Okay, number one. I was going to say, if you want a free boob job, get pregnant, but it's not really free because you have to look after someone for like 30 years. So don't do it. I do plan to breastfeed. It would be my goal. However, I do know that not everyone can do it, and it's a very difficult journey for a lot of people. So I'm really not going in with too much expectation and too much pressure. It's kind of I'm just trying not to put pressure on anything and just go with the flow, and that way I can't be disappointed or like annoyed or feel like I'm not doing things I'm supposed to be doing if they don't work out the way that I've like rigidly planned, you know. Were you ever anxious in your first trimester? I am anxious all the time about this. I'm not anxious, isn't the word. Well, actually, probably is the word. I don't suffer from any kind of like anxiety or anything like that, but you do catch yourself a few times a day being like, have they moved today? Is everything okay? Like, things like that. Like, you do kind of catch yourself being like, I'm going to feel my stomach, I'm going to have a look in the mirror, I'm going to see how I'm feeling, things like that. I did catch a stomach bug last week in the Philippines, which was not enjoyable, you know. It was not enjoyable, and that on top of like 32 hours of flying. Like, I went to my midwife straight away and was like, I have not stopped the sickness and diarrhea for a few days. Like, is this okay? Is this safe? And you know, lo and behold, everything was good. We checked heartbeats and all this kind of stuff, and everything is a-okay as long as the fluid has been taken in and whatnot, and it wasn't any kind of like virus or food poisoning or anything like that. It just happened that something just didn't agree with me. But yes, it's like always a what's going on? How am I feeling? Is this normal? Is this not normal? And I'll tie that in with, have you felt the baby move? Yes, and it is weird. It is very weird. It started off like gas, you know. I felt like there was like wee gas bubbles in my stomach, or like really slight flutters, and sometimes I was like, I can't tell if that's like just gas digestion or if that is like a human being in there. And now it's at a point, so I am 22 weeks and 4 days now, so we're well over, not well over, we're over halfway, which is mind-blowing. I'll give you a body update, because we definitely have a belly now. I mean, in this outfit not so much, like you can wear, this is from My Protein, by the way. I also said I was never buying maternity clothes, and I was looking for like a zipper on the My Protein website, and the one that they had just happened to be a maternity one. So we have a maternity one. But body wise, we will do a slight update. So there's, well, it's a pure sad bump, isn't it? Like, it's just not. So we are nearly, I think we're in 5 months now. We're in 5 months, month 5, 22 weeks and 4 days. Some days the belly's bigger, some days it's smaller. I think it depends on like if I'm bloated or how much I've eaten and things like that. It's there for me. Like, I used to have like full-on abs. I no longer have that. But if you wear your clothes up high enough, like, it's not that obvious that you're pregnant, which, you know, every single body's different. Every woman will experience it differently. Please keep that in mind, please. I am eating healthy, I am working out, I am eating plenty of food. I'm also a small person, you know, I'm not exactly, I wasn't expecting to be humongous, but we still have 4 months, so you know, there's time for that to really grow. One of the questions was, am I nervous for like recovery and the bounce back and all this kind of stuff? I'm going to be very, very honest. Pregnancy isn't the part that's freaking me out or like making me really like nervous. Obviously there's days when I'm like, this is actually really hard, this is really tiring, like I have round ligament pain, I've started developing a bit of like sciatica and like my lower back and my like butt cheeks, but I have like my exercises and stuff for that. So overall there's niggles and pains, but I have ways to ease them and that's fine. And there are obviously days when I'm just like so tired, so emotional, so just not me. But overall, like I must say I am very grateful I have had what I would consider a positive experience. Labour isn't really throwing me yet either, maybe because I haven't looked into it much. And my main concern, honestly, as to what area I feel like I'm going to struggle with the most, or what I'm anticipating is going to be the hardest, is actually what they call the 4th trimester, i.e. the first 3 months after you have a baby, because your body is going to go through so much. Your mind's going to go through so much, your whole routine's going to be upside down. I have never been a mother before in my life, and all of a sudden there's going to be this baby. That is the part I'm most nervous for, to be honest. And that's okay. That is okay. But yeah, that's probably the area where I'm most like nervous for, is definitely the first couple of months after. And tying that in with my like, am I nervous for my body changing? Yes and no. Like yes, I'm kind of like, this just looks weird. It's not in a negative way, like I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, I just do not look like myself, like I just look a bit, you know, I just look different. I'm not sad about it or like negative about it. Some days I'm like, oh my god, I wish I didn't feel heavy, you know, or I wish like my stomach didn't feel as like kind of, you know, but it's the journey you go on to have a baby, and like I said, thus far my experience of that has been positive, and I'm so grateful for that. And I'm not viewing postpartum as bouncing back. I am not looking at it as I want to get back to that, because you're never going to look exactly the same. I actually anticipate to look better. I have got my eyes set on like the next 6 months to a year, not even putting a time frame on it, but you know, whenever my next stage of my fitness journey after I have a baby is going to be the best shape of my life. That is what I'm putting out there, but it's not a, I want to get back to this, because actually I want to be a more muscular version than what I was. So yeah, it's not a before, during and after. It's a, this is the journey of life, and my fitness journey will adapt to wherever I'm at. There's no rush on it, there's no grand expectation. I just will have different goals throughout different stages of life, and I've not reached my best potential yet, and I've not reached my like top end fitness goals yet, and I will do that within time. I will do that within time. The final question before this camera dies again is, do I have a birth plan? We actually don't have a birth plan yet, but I do have a couple of non-negotiables. I do not want an epidural, and that is because, well, it's a personal preference, but there's obviously, I don't do needles, I don't do jags, don't do injections, unless obviously like vaccines and stuff that you have to get, yes, and blood tests, yes, but I just would like avoid it when it's not necessary. Epidural, number 1, don't like needles. Number 2, can cause back problems down the line. Is it worth it? No. Number 3, I do not like the idea. I do not like the idea, oh whoa, of my body being numb. I do not like the idea of not being able to feel what's going on. I would much rather feel pain and know what is going on in my body than not feel pain, but also not feel my body. You know, I had a friend tell me that one of her friends got an epidural and she was numb from the neck down, and like she couldn't even hold the baby afterwards because she was just like numb. It's a personal preference, and there's absolutely no right or wrong way to give birth. There's absolutely not. You can do every single drug under the sun that is labour safe, not cocaine, and or have a C-section, or have, I don't even know what the options are. You can do whatever your journey is, or you can do a vaginal birth with no medication, and no one is better than the other. No one is better than the other. But my personal preference would be, it's not a preference, I would just not have an epidural. I'm just not going to do it. Like, that is something I do know. I'm saying that, and I know I will be in pain, but I don't want one. I do not want an epidural, and I do not want sliced. Obviously, if you need to be cut down there, you need to be cut down there. I would not choose a C-section. Again, the whole getting cut open, the whole epidurals, all that kind of, oh, I just couldn't. I'm queasy and I'm a wimp with that kind of stuff more than anything. Obviously, if an emergency arises where you need to have a C-section, by all means, cut me open. I will not enjoy it, but if it has to be done, it has to be done. My personal preference would be, we're doing it in a hospital as well, because I just would like to be in a setting that if anything goes wrong, you have the medical staff right there to do what needs to be done. I'm going to hospital, end of story. I'll be going to the hospital. I always kind of thought about a water birth. I do not see myself having a water birth because A, I'm definitely going to shit myself. Do not want to be swimming with that next to me. I don't want to be wet, you know, and yeah, we actually haven't thought of an actual birth plan yet. We haven't went over anything yet, or even like discussed anything other than I have said, we'll be in the hospital and I don't want an epidural. I want to look into hypnobirthing and like these positive birth experiences and all these kind of things, but I'm going to go in with tools such as hypnobirthing and have a plan. But again, I'm going to go in with no expectations. I don't want to end up maybe not sticking to something and then feeling like I failed, or, you know, you see people the women just put so much pressure on themselves for things to be like perfect, and nothing in this world is perfect. So I will update you on the birth plan as we get to one. We don't have one yet. I just know hospital and no epidural. Preferably that baby slides out my vagina without tearing me. I will take the pain, but because actually it was Adam the other day was like, oh, it'd be quite good if it was just like over in like 3 hours, eh? And I was like, well, there should be, listen to what I'm about to say. This is the most naive thing. If you've ever had a baby, you'll be looking at me right now like you are a stupid bitch. I was like, I don't want it to be too fast because I want us to actually have like a birth experience together, you know. I want to go to the hospital and have a few hours of like the pain and labour and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, what? And I was like, well, I don't want to just go in and, you know, you see these people that have babies in the car and then it's like, that's it. Obviously you can't control these things, right? But because it was actually my mum the other day was like, oh, I was 12 hours in labour with you, that was like fine. And Adam was like, 12 hours? 12 hours? I'm like, any window between 4 and 12 hours is where I'd like to be. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know, I just would like to have some kind of experience. I think it's a competitive thing. I think in me I'm like, we can do this, we can take pain. However, this is a different pain that I've never experienced before, so you're probably listening and going, shut up. That is, you want that over as soon as possible. So yes, If you guys have any resources, any YouTube channels, any suggestions, anyone you follow, anything you've read, your own experiences, please leave them down below for both like pregnancy and birth and postpartum, like all of it. I want to know it all. Tell me all your stuff. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in my next video.